There's something about a helicopter, right? That ability to just lift straight up, hang in the air, move in any direction, it feels like it's defying physics. But behind that incredible freedom is a world of rules. Meticulous, life-saving regulations that are all about making sure every flight ends safely on the ground.
So, what's the secret? What does it really take to fly one of these complex machines safely? Is it just the pilot's incredible skill? The raw power of the engines? Well, the real answer is actually found in a place you might not expect. And here it is. Yeah, I know, it doesn't exactly scream action movie, but this document, India's Civil Aviation Requirements, is basically the safety Bible for every helicopter flight. It's dense, it's technical, but we're going to pull back the curtain and see the hidden checklist that keeps these machines in the air.
Okay, so first things first. When that helicopter is in the air, who has the final say? The rulebook is incredibly clear about this. It all comes down to one single person. You're looking at the definition of the pilot in command, or the PIC. Now, this isn't just the person with their hands on the controls. The regulations say they are charged with the safe conduct of a flight. That means legally, everything, and I mean everything, rests on their shoulders from the moment the rotors start turning to the moment they stop. The buck stops with them. So, if you're the pick with all that responsibility, your most important work actually happens long before you even think about lifting off. The rulebook lays out a whole pre-flight ritual that is absolutely non-negotiable. And it's a huge job. We're not just talking about flying the helicopter. The pilot in command is responsible for the overall safety, making sure every single item on every checklist is checked. They have to report any little thing that's wrong with the aircraft after the flight. And they have to keep the logbook perfectly up to date. It's the whole shebang. And this is where the rubber really meets the road. Before any flight, the PIC has to be able to answer yes to all of these questions. Is this machine actually fit to fly? Are all the instruments and gadgets working? Is it loaded correctly so the balance is right? Is everything in the back tied down securely? And the big one, do we have enough fuel? If the answer to any of these is no, guess what? You're not flying, period. Let's talk about that fuel question, because the rules are incredibly specific. It all depends on how you're flying. If it's a beautiful, clear day, you're flying VFR, Visual Flight Rules. That means you need enough fuel to get where you're going, plus a 20-minute safety buffer. But if you're flying IFR, Instrument Flight Rules, say through clouds, the rules get much tougher. You need fuel to get to your destination, then enough fuel to fly to a backup airport, and you still have to have 30 minutes of fuel left in the tank. That's a serious safety margin built right in. Okay, pre-flight is done, we're up in the air. But that rulebook doesn't just get left behind on the ground. Oh no, it's right there in the cockpit with you, defining how you fly, what the machine is capable of, and what you have to do if things start to go wrong. So, just to make it super clear, these are the two fundamental ways to fly. VFR is when you can see the ground, the horizon, other planes. You're flying by looking outside. IFR is when you can't see a thing outside, and you are putting your complete trust in the helicopter's instruments to tell you which way is up. It's a massive difference. Now, the rules also get really specific about the machines themselves. Not all helicopters are created equal. A Category A helicopter is the top tier. It's a multi-engine machine with enough power that if one engine decides to quit, you can still safely fly. That's a huge safety feature. And then you have Category B. This is a whole different story. If you have an engine failure in a Category B helicopter, there's no guarantee you can keep flying. The plan, the assumption built into the rules, is that you are going to be making a forced landing. So why the different categories? Well, it all boils down to these performance classes. A Class 1 helicopter, which is your Category A type, you lose an engine, you have options. You can continue the flight or turn around and land, no problem. A Class 2 can also usually keep flying unless the engine fails at the worst possible moment like takeoff or landing. But a Class 3, your typical Category B helicopter, if an engine quits, that's it. A forced landing is happening no matter when or where. All right, this brings us to what might be the most critical part of this whole safety puzzle: planning for the unexpected. It's all about having a plan B, C, and D for when things don't go according to plan A. The rules even have a term for places that are extra risky to fly over: a hostile environment. And no, we're not talking about a war zone. We're talking about the terrain. Think about flying over a huge forest, jagged mountains, or the open ocean. Anywhere that if you had to land, you couldn't do it safely, or it would be really hard for rescuers to get to you. So, for example, if you're going to fly over a big stretch of water, the rulebook says this gear isn't just a good idea, it is mandatory. Everyone on board needs a life jacket, and it has to have a light on it. You need enough life rafts for everybody, and you need things like flares to signal for help. You have to be prepared for the worst-case scenario. And check this out. This is a fascinating little detail. You ever see these markings on a helicopter or a plane and wonder what they are? They're actually instructions for rescue crews. They're break-in points, showing firefighters the safest place to cut through the skin of the aircraft to get people out after a crash. It's a small thing, but it shows how safety is thought about from every possible angle. It's not just about gear. Even the words a pilot uses are strictly regulated. If you're getting low on fuel, there are two very specific calls to make. Minimum fuel tells air traffic control, hey, I'm okay right now, but I can't afford any delays. It's a heads up. But mayday, 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 fuel, well, that's a full-blown emergency. That tells everyone you are in serious trouble and you expect to land with less fuel than you're legally supposed to have. There's no room for confusion when every second counts. So after all this, it kind of makes you wonder, right? Is the incredible safety of modern aviation a result of amazing pilot skill? Or is it really a victory for the humble checklist, the procedure, the rulebook? The truth, of course, is that it's both. A perfect fusion of human expertise guided by a system designed to leave nothing to chance.